Alright, hey, welcome to another edition of JTJU, where we all try to be just a little better at the game of Clash of Clans. I got another Clan War Tactics screencast, this time zooming in on Town Hall 9, looking at a GoWiWi GiHo Surgical. And that's a hog attack using 3 golems to penetrate the mid, and then you deploy little small hog units around the edges as your units in mid and the hog teams that are on the floor move through the base to basically leverage off that distract. So it's kind of an interesting attack, but let's first give a high five out to 2 people. First, Colleen with I'm Kin, because she's using awesome classical guitar based music here, which any surgeon would love. And then secondly, to Gotti, who gave us the 2 clips we're going to see. He's got a great channel, check it out, Gotti HH on YouTube. Let's get to it. Okay, so here's attack number 1 of 2, and as always with tactic videos, I'll go to more meandering pace with this first one, kind of talking about each step so we can get a little more understanding, then we'll zip through the second more to recap. So first off, with any attack, we want to check the style. And so this, what we're looking for when we're looking at a GoWiWi GiHo Surgical like this, is to see that you can get a very dense team, 3 golems is what you're putting out in the field with this, into the mid, and then through the mid into position for your first flank distract, so that your hogs can be playing off the fact that the golems are sitting in mid, sucking up, ideally, both expo fire. In addition, as you go into the mid, you want to be mitigating most, if not all, of the double big bomb, double giant bomb risk points. And if you can do that, see that pathing is there, and then the ones that you don't get, you would get with these small hog teams that come in, then you're in the right style. So once we've confirmed the attack style, we move to what the attack line or vector should be. And what we're trying to do with the attack line in this attack is disable as many of the double giant bomb placements as we can. And so we look at the base, you can see that there are giant bomb risk points, double giant bomb risk points at 430 there. Then maybe at 7 by that queen, well, that's lower risk because I don't like the pathing on it. Also right there in the mid by the air sweeper. And then up there by between the 2 expos, between the 2 whiz towers there, would be the other one that I would be worried about. Plus this one here between the expo and the archer tower. So given that, you ask yourself, where should I come from? And getting the queen on the way is a good thing if you can get it. I've seen attacks with this that doesn't use the queen, but I would say maybe coming in from 6, and that's what they end up doing. So we'll give them a green. Alright, the next question is to T-duct or not to T-duct. That is the question. And in this case he does. The next attack we won't. And he uses 20 slots to start of his housing space. Ends up with 25 because he drops a 4th hog afterwards. But notice the giant leader for the T-duct team. You don't see that very often. That's very nice. And then his hogs proceed to get into range of the buried clan castle, trigger it. And being a smart clasher, he realizes he might not have got everyone, so he puts another hog in just in case. But notice also the vectors of how he went from 90 degrees of where he's going to end up attacking from 6 o'clock, back to 45 degrees the other side, and then down to 6, which creates that nice line coming right into 6. See how that worked? So think about that in terms of your drag, where you go 90 degrees away, 45 degrees the other way, and then right to the line. Another interesting thing with his T-duct. So very nicely done T-duct, give it a green. So as the T-duct completes its work, you drop your GoWiWi golems behind or in front of it to protect those witches from the fire from the base. Does that, gets the cutters up behind it. It's very tight deployment of the golems. See how it's a 5 to 7, a 2-hour arc there? That allows, when he blows the hole like he did just there, that the golems will pull in and drive the first compartment together. So you basically sucked in everything you wanted to be driving the mid. So give him a green on the GoWiWi deploy. And hole dive. Interesting thing happens though right here. Notice how the king did not dive the hole. I'll give him a green anyway, but because I couldn't tell if he did it on purpose or not, because he placed that king almost an hour away from 6 o'clock. He placed it down around 4:30, 5 o'clock, almost like he wanted to loop it around the edge. So I'll let you be the judge if that was on purpose or a mistake. But either way, moving on. Next point to consider is the jump and rage. With the jump, we want to make sure that the golems, once they get to the end of that road, they're in position, that the core defensive buildings that you wanted to distract are on the golems because they're in range. And so in this case, we need to be in mid for that, maybe to the far side to get those 2 expos locked in. He does that. He also want to see, ideally, getting access to the queen. Got that. We also want to be giving access to disabling and killing some of the double giant bomb positions. We did that at 7 and 430, as well as in the mid. So green all the way on the jump spell placement. Now usually with this attack, if you don't T-duck, you're going to use the rage to kill the clan castle, so it'll be placed a little earlier, maybe a little in front of the jump. But in this case, you use the T-duck, so you can use the rage to enable the golems and queen and king, although he wandered off, so the golem and the queen to tear up the middle and take a little pressure off the hogs that might come in later. So I'm going to still give that a green as well. Alright, last but not least, the GiHo surgical team drops onto the floor. And what we want to be seeing here is first, we're going to deploy them once the expo's locked to the golems in the mid. That's the big distract is what this whole attack's about. And then we're going to drop the first flank there, and then every little team, the surgical means small teams of 2 to 4 hogs, are going to be deployed off of distraction plays. So there goes some guys in at 130, coming in off the golems in mid. And then you're going to see some more hogs at, I'm going to say 830? Nope, here they go. Well, both. There's some at 1030 and there's ones at 830. The 830 ones were distracting off the skellies, and the ones at 1030 used the giant. And really at that point he's committed. So you saw there 3 fronts, but within each front there were surgical components of it. Like, you know, my front might be broken into 3 hog teams, 2 hog teams, targeting specific buildings, much like Globalunion does. So I think over time we'll stop saying surgical, or maybe we'll keep saying it because it's so much fun to say. Surgical. Either way, it's a good looking attack. And notice how this version of it, where we're using witches, has so many units on the field. You might see some others that instead of using witches go heavier with hogs. This attack used around 12 hogs. The other attacks might go with 20 and then have more wizards. But in reviewing the tape, it looks like this witch-based version has more troops at the end, which is more forgiving. Let's take a look at second attack. Okay, second attack. We'll go a little bit quicker with this one, but first, of course, it's the right style. I'll give it away. It's a 3-star. But the attack line is interesting. Mitigating the maximum amount of double giant bomb placements. Where do you see them? You can see one there at 7 potentially, one there at 530, one up by one in the mid. So I would be saying coming from 6 would be the wisest course of action. And that's what he ends up doing. So that'll be a green. He does not T-duct, as I mentioned earlier, so this is going to be just a straight right into the GoWiWi deploy. So you should see, there they come, the 2 golems drop at 5 and 7. So again, a tight arc of deployment, about a 2-hour arc of deployment. So I'll give that a green, but notice the 2 hogs coming in from 4 and 8. He was trying to play off the golems there at 5 and 7. And small differences, the one at 7 does distract the archer tower at 8 o'clock. But the one at 4 doesn't, because it's just like 1 tile over. That causes the hog to succeed in taking down the archer tower at 8 there, but the hog and whiz team at 430 fail. So careful, careful. Next up is the jump raid. It's actually double jump in this case. He uses 2 jumps, drops one of his heals, and saves some wall breaker slots. Because as he looks at the base, he sees that AD box, which if you jump it, gives you access to 4 boxes if you include the AD one itself, which is a pretty good deal. And also, as you drive that, then you're like, all right, well, I'm going to have to, because I've invested so much money in the 3 golems and the witches, we want to enable that team to keep moving. So he's going to give a second jump to actually move it into where those expos are and such, so that the later stage of the attack they're still doing and adding some value. But you see the rage there being used to help with the clan castle takeout. As we mentioned in the prior attack, instead of powering through the mid, it's used for the CC a little earlier. And now there's the second jump, which is kind of unique to this. Usually you wouldn't see that. You'd see a second heal instead and just let him be more in the mid. And then the actual surgical team will come in here, 2 giants leading, and then spot deployments of 3 teams, 1 per defensive building at both 1 o'clock and 10 o'clock or 10:30ish, 2 flanks basically on those 2 sides. And they pump in, and then the 1 heal's placed on the whiz towers. That's kind of enabled because of the fact they're kind of grouped asymmetrically. So you can kind of get away with 1 heal. I don't know if they would have used this double jump attack if those wizard towers hadn't been grouped, but they were. So it was a good recognition of, you know, because usually you're using your heals for in the whiz tower locations and or giant bomb locations, and you knew from the pre-base analysis that most of the giant bomb locations were probably down low, and you were coming from that direction. So it was a good bet, and it ended up giving it a 3-star. So there's 2 good flavors for you of how the GoWiWi 3-golem GoWiWi team can push into the mid, create a distraction, so that then your hog fronts, 2 or more, can push in without a lot of damage. Okay, that wraps up this edition of Clan War Tactics. Give me a high five or a shout out on YouTube or the forums if you get time. Otherwise, you can always check out JTJClan.com. There's a write-up of this attack that will keep updated as we go forward. Good luck, guys. Talk to you soon. What am I gonna do? My clan sucks. Hey, it's JTJ.
I think that's an all-out attack.
No, it's the legendary JTJU. 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 What? I like my horn. You and this army. Download Clash of Clans for free. Then subscribe to JTJU and win.